In today's absolutely wild and unexpected twist in the NFL landscape, Cowboys Nation is waking up to the kind of rumor, leak, and insider whisper that detonates across social media like a football-shaped nuclear blast. Because according to circulating reports and chatter coming from the deepest corners of league circles, Jerry Jones has supposedly stepped forward and ignited an explosive scenario by hinting at something nobody thought would ever happen in our lifetime. A.J. Brown, the Philadelphia Eagles superstar wide receiver, yes, that A.J. Brown, the one who has torched defenses, bulldozed cornerbacks, and built a reputation as one of the most physically dominant receivers in the league, could be on the pathway to joining the Dallas Cowboys in what's being described as a potentially groundbreaking, era-altering, rivalry-shattering deal, rumored to be worth over $100 million, and the entire football world is absolutely losing its collective mind, trying to figure out what this means, how it started, whether it's real, and what kind of consequences it could have, not only for Dallas and Philadelphia, but for the entire NFC structure. Because if this goes down, the balance of power will shift with the force of an earthquake. The moment the whispers began, people assumed it was just another offseason rumor, the kind of thing that spirals out of fan imagination. But then things escalated when alleged insiders began claiming that yet Jerry Jones, never one to shy away from dramatic moves or headline-generating statements, has been engaged in serious internal discussions about making an historic, bold, all-in acquisition to supercharge Dallas's offense and give Dak Prescott a weapon so terrifying that defensive coordinators across the league might as well start updating their resumes. The story picked up even more steam when reports surfaced saying the Cowboys have been monitoring A.J. Brown's situation for months, quietly watching the tensions in Philadelphia, the sideline frustrations, the cryptic interviews, the rumblings about play calling disagreements, the visible moments where A.J. Brown looked like a superstar stuck in a scheme that no longer highlighted what makes him elite, and suddenly the puzzle pieces started coming together in a way that felt almost too cinematic to be real, but too compelling to ignore. Imagine the scenario. The Dallas Cowboys, a franchise always starving for that next iconic offensive trio, suddenly putting A.J. Brown on one side and CeeDee Lamb on the other, creating a nightmare-inducing receiver duo with the physicality, speed, route running excellence, and after-the-catch violence that would instantly elevate Dallas to the most explosive passing offense in football. And then imagine Dak Prescott dropping back with that kind of artillery at his disposal, Lamb shredding zones, Brown overpowering defenders, Brandon Cooks stretching the field, Jake Ferguson ripping apart the seams. Defenses wouldn't know whether to double Brown or triple team Lamb, and either choice still ends in disaster because the Cowboys would have a level of balance and firepower that hasn't been seen in the NFL in decades. Yeah. Meanwhile, the tension surrounding the rivalry aspect of this scenario cannot be overstated, because this wouldn't be A.J. Brown leaving the Eagles for some random AFC team or heading out west to fade into a new conference. No. This would be A.J. Brown walking directly into the locker room of the Eagles' most hated, most despised, most passionately rivaled opponent, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, turning every Cowboys versus Eagles game into the kind of emotionally charged, stadium-shaking event that breaks television records and sends the NFC East into a frenzy. Imagine A.J. Brown returning to Philadelphia in a Cowboys uniform. Imagine the booze, the electricity, the storylines, the emotion, the rivalry fuel that would make every snap feel like a heavyweight boxing fight. It would instantly become the most personal, dramatic rivalry storyline in modern NFL history. And the financial numbers being tossed around only add more fuel to this madness. Alleged figures north of $100 million, huge guarantees, long-term security, and contract structuring gymnastics that only the Cowboys front office, led by the ever bold, ever theatrical Jerry Jones, could pull off. Jerry is not afraid of massive deals, he is not afraid of swinging for the fences, and he is certainly not afraid of making a move that shocks every analyst and sends ripples through every sports network. If anything, Jerry lives for this kind of moment. The legacy move, the kind of blockbuster acquisition that defines eras and creates stories that will be told for years. The locker room reactions alone would be insane, especially when you consider how players on the Cowboys have long campaigned for more offensive reinforcements, more weapons, more firepower to push them over the playoff hump. You can only imagine the excitement inside the building as rumors swirl, players texting each other, talking in the weight room, envisioning the possibilities, imagining the kind of unstoppable offense they could become with A.J. Brown bullying defenders after every catch. And then, of course, the elephant in the room. What would the Cowboys have to give up? That question alone has fueled enormous amounts of speculation. Some think it would take at least a first-round pick. Others believe multiple picks would be necessary. Some think a player could be involved. And if the Eagles' internal situation with A.J. Brown is messy enough, the Cowboys may try to exploit the tension and reduce the price, which would only add more drama to the firestorm. Meanwhile, around the league, front offices would not be happy. If Dallas gets A.J. Brown, some teams that spent the offseason preparing for the usual NFC threats would now have to rework their defensive strategies entirely. It would cause ripple effects all across the NFL landscape, teams reevaluating their roster construction, defensive-minded coaches panicking, coordinators studying film all night trying to figure out how to stop not just Lamb, but also Brown in the same offense. This move would catapult the Cowboys into instant Super Bowl contender status, not in theory, but in practical reality. The Cowboys' offense has long been dangerous, but adding a physically dominant, game-breaking, elite-level receiver like A.J. Brown would be the missing explosive ingredient that could finally unlock the full potential of their postseason ambitions. From a storyline perspective, the drama is unmatched. From a football perspective, the fit is flawless. From a rivalry perspective, it's gasoline on a bonfire. And from a fan perspective, it is the kind of blockbuster, jaw-dropping, adrenaline-pumping possibility that makes the NFL the most exciting league in the world. The Cowboys have always had a flair for showmanship, and Jerry Jones has built a career on making moves that nobody expects, moves that make headlines, moves that send shockwaves across the sports community. So whether this deal is already in stealth mode, whether it's just beginning, or whether it's simply the spark that ignites an even bigger firestorm, the fact remains that this rumor, even as a hypothetical, has reshaped the entire emotional landscape of the offseason overnight. Cowboys fans are already envisioning number 11 streaking down the sidelines in the star-emblazoned helmet. Eagles fans are panicking, angry, or in disbelief. Neutral fans are grabbing popcorn. Analysts are scrambling to craft takes. And the rest of the league is watching Dallas very, very closely, because if Jerry Jones manages to pull this off, if A.J. Brown truly lands in Dallas on a massive $100 million deal, then the Cowboys won't just have made a big move. They will have made the move that alters the entire NFL conversation, shifts the competitive balance of power, and creates one of the most dangerous offensive combinations the league has ever seen. And until the truth comes out, one thing is certain: this rumor alone is powerful enough to dominate the offseason, fuel endless speculation, spark rivalry firestorms, and electrify Cowboys Nation like never before.